Yeah, and we're live. We're
Yeah.
live.
Live. Hi
Yay!
everyone. Hello
Oh boy.
everyone. We'll do like
Hello.
you usually do. We'll share on our social media platforms the
Yeah.
link for the live stream, and we'll be at you like in 2-3 minutes to get it started. So bear with us, guys, and
Mm-hmm.
hi everyone who's joining.
Yeah, so I'm doing the sharing like I usually do. So feel free to share, guys, if you're here with us. Feel free to share the pod. It's always nice if we have
Mm-hmm.
a lot of listeners. The more, the merrier.
Yeah. Actually, I met some folks, and at the tailgate yesterday, I met somebody who was originally from California but lives in Montreal now, and is a Montreal supporter. And
Oh,
yeah, he knew us. I was like, oh my gosh, you know who we are.
really?
Yeah. I felt very cool.
Nice.
You are cool, Eve. You are cool.
Oh my God, Hady, calm down. I appreciate your generosity because today I am feeling anything but cool. I am feeling like a slug.
Oh, that's sad.
It was a big day
That's
yesterday. It was a big day.
But we should be happy that it's a big day. It could have been
Yes.
another one of Eve's days. You know?
No. Good vibes. Good vibes.
I'm ready, guys. So whenever you are, just tell me I'm ready. I'm good to go.
Yeah. I just need. I'm not ready yet, so it shouldn't be
No
too
worries.
long yet.
That just means that I can tell Sam. I can poke fun at Sam about the big Man United result yesterday.
Yeah, the
Brighton!
amazing results, right?
Brighton. Oh my God, Sam!
Not
So
surprised.
bad.
Not
Brighton
surprised.
is the new Manchester United.
They play some nice football though. They well coached, some pretty talented players, but Man United should never lose 4-0 to Brighton. Never, ever.
There are very
but
few teams to which, but yeah, no,
here we
Brighton
are.
actually, like, I have a lot of respect for them. You know, they don't have a big budget, but they're
Exactly.
they struggled to win at home, but like you never really doubted that they were going to be safe in the league. So good for them.
Yep. Yeah, I like them, and I like their coach.
Graham
I
Potter.
like Potter, exactly. Yeah, I really like their setup. So
yeah, no, and my mom's coach crush, Roy Hodgson, got relegated.
Yeah, but Watford. I always liked Hudson did a fantastic job at Crystal Palace. Fantastic job for what he had, but Watford was too much of a test for him, and they were already doomed. But you change coach 3 times a year. That's what happens.
No, that's the thing. It's a really, really dysfunctional organization, and like as much as I criticize Montreal, I am very glad that we are not Montreal, or we are not like Watford here in Montreal. I would never.
Did you know that Elton John was once
he is a big Watford supporter.
Yeah,
he's a big Watford supporter. Yeah,
he used to be the majority
no way.
owner. Yeah.
Oh my God.
So I have a soft spot for them.
Guys, I know you like talking about Elton John. I can tell you that Miles Jacobson is a big Watford fan. By the way, I think I said it, a couple of weeks ago. And Miles Jacobson is the creator of Football Manager for all Football Manager lovers.
Yes.
Yeah. So every time there's an announcement on Football Manager, like he's playing with Watford, and I'm like, man,
he uses the yellow and red kit or yellow and black
exactly.
kit. Yeah.
Okay, so I'm ready. By the way,
I'm ready. Let's go.
So you can start.
Let's get her done.
So let's start with the countdown in the next few seconds. Let's do this.
Hello, my friends. My name is Samuel Savy, and this week on the show, Montreal hit a club record by going undefeated in 7 in MLS. Gabriel Gervais confirms the Snowflake will be replaced in 2023, and Canadians continue to make us proud around the world. This and a lot more in episode 80 of The Ball is Wrong. And our interview for this week will come a bit later in part 1 of the show. Let's say roughly in an hour, and it's Alain Pouliot, known as Al, or his Twitter handle,
J'aime le soccer.
On Twitter. Yeah, he was at Lumen Park this week to witness the Sounders win the Champions League at home. He'll share his experience and reminisce on that historic night. Before that, I'm joined by my friends Yves Paul and Hady Raphael. How's everyone?
I'm fine, man. I feel bad. I'm wearing red, but
yeah. What's up? What's that?
I don't know, man. I do have red shirts, right? So I have to wear them one day. So I feel bad, but you know what? What I feel really happy about is that I read the comment of Alain. They just wrote, "What a day yesterday." I think I might be Team Hady now and not Team Eve.
Oh my god!
So thanks a lot, Alain. Thanks a lot. I can't wait to have you on.
Patrick White had a nice one too at the start of the show. He hit us up with big win and beautiful day yesterday at the stadium. Yes. How was your experience, guys, at the stadium? It was a fantastic day for football yesterday.
It was. You could not ask for a nicer day, I don't think. Not too hot, not too cold, bit of a breeze, beautiful weather. Obviously, there was tailgate beforehand that I went to for about 5 hours, which was also very excellent. And then also after the game, it was excellent. No, for me, from 11 o'clock in the morning until I went home like close to 8, it was a perfect day.
Wow. Hady, yours?
Man, I loved it. At first, I sat outside because, in the press box, sometimes it gets a bit too warm, and I sometimes I like to say to sit outside. So I was sitting outside. But at one point, it was really freezing. So it was like, and during the press conference, I was like, man, yeah. So because on from the press box side, you have the roof, so you don't have any sun at all. So, but yeah, a great game. It was the players were on fire, so at least that warmed me up a bit.
Yeah, it was my first game at Stade Saputo this year. I was working for the first two. I went to the Olympic Stadium, but it doesn't feel like home for me until you start playing at Stade Saputo, and it just felt amazing to go back to the stadium. And how could I say, with everything that happened recently, there was some maybe it was a bit different going to the stadium, and I felt that it was so cool, so relaxed, so positive going there there's a change of vibe right now, and it's really good to see. So, what's helping too is that the team is doing so well on the pitch, and that's always going to help the team. So guys, let's get right into it. We'll start with the review of the Orlando game. So Montreal came into this game looking to set a franchise record of 7 consecutive games unbeaten in MLS. But Orlando was no easy task as they were sitting third in the East, 3 points ahead of us. Plus, Wilfried Nancy had to shuffle his lineup with the suspensions of Ismael Kone and Victor Wanyama, but he had Mathieu Choinière back available after a lengthy absence. So Wilfried Nancy went with Breza in goal. From right to left in defense, Johnston, Waterman, Camacho, Miller, and Lapalainen. In midfield, Samuel Piet, Mathieu Choinière, and Georgi Mihalovic, Joaquin Torres, and Romel Kyoto playing higher up the pitch up front. Guys, what was your thought on the lineups, and did you have any surprises?
Yeah, of course. Mathieu Choinière, man. Mathieu Choinière.
Yeah.
11. And with Lassi Lapalainen, with Alistair Johnston, with the back three. So I was like, are we going to see Mathieu Choinière back in the middle of the pitch? And you know what? Yes.
And we did.
In the middle. And I thought that maybe Nancy tried to change something and, maybe play Georgie a bit deeper and, Choinière on the left and Lassi up front. But no, it was a swap with Choinière and Piet playing at the place of Wanyama and Kone. And you know what? We're going to talk about it a bit later, but he wasn't wrong, Wilfried Nancy.
No. Yves, did you have anything to add?
No. Overall, I was definitely really surprised to see Choinière get the start. But, that's something we talked about, I think, a little bit recently, was that technically is the position he was initially built to play before converting to the wingback role as he played last year. So I was actually thrilled to see him get a run and kind of show off more of his versatility.
Yeah, most definitely. I was happy too. I was really, really expecting, like I would have put money like that, expecting to see Ahmed Hamdi in there with Samuel Piet. It was kind of a surprise when I saw Mathieu Chouanière. Now it get me thinking, oh, are we playing like a different system? Are we going to see Lassie maybe playing much higher up the pitch with Chouanière playing on that left wing back position? But no, Nasi, stuck to his guns and what's working right now. So Mathieu Chouanière had his run in midfield, and we'll talk about it later. We'll get into the proceedings of the game, but I think there was some positives, a bit of negatives too of Mathieu Chouanière's game, but we're not there yet. So let's start. Montreal, they got us used to some bright starts at Stade Saputo this year. And once again, we got a glorious opportunity in the opening 5 minutes, but the cross by Alistair Johnston was headed over the bar by Romel Kyoto. Guys, I guess this was the start that you were hoping for.
Yeah, Montreal started on the front foot, especially, early in the season. Probably part of it being the difficulty of juggling two schedules. Montreal had really struggled to start their matches, but then, of course, since coming home to Stade Saputo, Montreal started their matches very, very well against both Atlanta and Vancouver. So although they didn't score as early in yesterday's match, it was good to see them making sure to impose their style of football from the off.
Yeah, but when I saw that opportunity, for me, the first thing that hit me was like, wow, another amazing cross from Alistair Johnston.
Fantastic.
Like, I don't think we realize how important that asset is. It's an asset that we haven't had for a while now. And we've been asking for that for a wingback that can cross the ball for, I think, many seasons now. And now we have one. Alistair Johnston is really on spot with his crosses. It's amazing. The ball was about to go out. Yeah. He stretched in order to get to it. And that cross was spot on, directly on the head of Romel Kyoto. So what more do you want, right? Like, this team is clicking, and you have the right players at the right positions right now. So it's really, like, I'm buzzing. I love it.
And technically, that cross by Johnston, it's not easy. Even if on a dead ball situation, to put that shape into your cross, it's not an easy thing to do. And he did it like almost trying to make sure the ball didn't go out of the pitch. And he was so tight to the corner flag, there was the linesman almost over him, and he found a way to deliver that beautiful cross. And Romel Kyoto was between two Orlando defenders and still got his head on it. It was a picture-perfect cross. And like you say, I was wondering when you were talking, Hady, like, is it true that we've struggled so much in that department? I remember Bakary Sagna wasn't a bad crosser of the ball, but we weren't playing a system that favorized a lot these deliveries from the wing, from fullbacks at that time, because we used to play with 4 defenders at that moment. Yeah. So the fact that we can, sorry, go ahead.
No, continue.
Please. Well, what I was saying is the fact that we're able to exploit Alistair Johnston in one of his strengths of his game is extremely positive. But I'll shoot it back to you, Yves.
No, I was going to say, I just lived to bring up this stat because we brought it up last year, was, Mathieu Chouanière playing as a wingback and Zachary Braguillard. I mean, they combined for a total of 5 assists last year or something equally. No, it wasn't even. No, exactly. No, it was a very low number. And, Alistair Johnston has already now, with this game, he's got if it's 3, he's equaled their total from last year combined, which is fantastic. And, especially, we didn't necessarily see it as much in his role with Nashville because he played more like a fullback, and it was like a little bit more of a classic stay-at-home type fullback. Mm-hmm. And of course, with Canada, he's played at a right central defender position. So I did have a lot of questions about what kind of service Alistair Johnston could deliver into the box, because Montreal is going to demand it a whole lot more than Nashville or Canada would of him. And kudos to him. He's adapted.
Yeah, definitely. So, 2 minutes later, Piet delivered a beautiful ball to Lassi Lapalainen down that left flank. He was a bit held by Ruan, completely missing his tackle, and somehow Lapalainen shot it right off Pedro Galese. Eve, now I know you're in the supporters group in the 127. What was the feeling when that happened?
It was like throw your hands up and what? How? Why? It had to be harder to shoot it on Galese than at the net. Yeah. But still salute. Definitely, it was a great pass from Piet. Great vision on his part, and that's not something we normally give Piet credit for. Is visionary passes. So overall, still pleased to see the attacking thrust.
Yeah. In the 20th minute, Georgi Mihailovic delivered a corner, and following some mass confusion in the box, the ball kind of popped out to Joel Waterman. He was maybe 5 yards out, and he tucked it in. The goal was initially flagged for offside by Leah Sarfa, the assistant referee on that side of the pitch, but was given following a VAR check. Hady, were you confident that VAR would intervene at that moment?
Oh yeah, 100%. Because being in a press box, you have a TV in front of you also. So whenever you need to watch the replays, you see the replays right away. Because you need to write your article and you need to make sure that you have the right facts, right? Mm-hmm. So I had the TV right away. As soon as I saw the goal, I was like, no, it's not normal. It shouldn't be disallowed. Because
it deflected off the Orlando players.
Yeah, but not only that. When I checked the replay, it's not only deflected by an Orlando player. The player that played the ball in order to shoot it back and then to shoot it outside of the area was an Orlando player, and then it went onto the chest of another Orlando player and fell off to Waterman. So 2 players from Orlando touched the ball before it fell off to Waterman. So not only, sometimes you say, okay, you know what? It's not a natural, it's not a natural movement from the defender, deflecting the ball. And, that could have been something that VAR would look at. But in this instance, it's the last 2 players that touched the ball that were Orlando. So yeah, when I saw that, I was like, yeah, it's going to be allowed for sure. 100%. Waterman is just here at the right place at the right time. And yeah, he's not offside at all.
Mm-hmm.
No, exactly. And guys, I want to ask you, how happy were you for Joel Waterman? And just to put into context for people that missed this, his first ever goal in Montreal, and he became, by the same occasion, the first ever player transferred from CFMTL to score MLS goals. So a fantastic historic milestone for Joel Waterman. But most importantly, I think he was really like, he was able to pick up some of his good work by a goal. And I just want to hear you guys on what's up with Joel Waterman this year, because I think he's having a very, very good year.
Yeah,
we said it, I think 2-3 weeks ago. We said that he's the most consistent player at the back from Montreal since the beginning of the season.
Yeah,
and he showed it again, and he's still progressing. And I think he was man of the match yesterday. In my opinion, he was man of the match. He was really faultless. He did everything right.
No, I agree. He made history, and he had a lot on his shoulders by being the first CPL player to sign in MLS. And, it wasn't overnight that he developed into the player that we're seeing today. And, this time last year, we were all kind of asking a lot of questions about if Joel Waterman really has what it takes. And lo and behold, he's clearly got the work ethic of a very respectable person, because he's managed to mold himself into somebody who cannot be dislodged from this team. He's got to be, a really easy mark for Wilfred Nancy on the team sheet right now. So I think he deserves all the credit in the world. And, I think that the goal is kind of like the fruits of his very long labor. Yeah. And definitely, as Alain mentioned, thank you to Chris Penso for recognizing that Joel Waterman did deserve his goal yesterday. Of all people, Chris Penso. Yeah,
but I'm not on the Chris Penso hate boat. I kind of like him. I think he's one of the best in MLS. But we have something in Montreal with him. I know, but I've got nothing against him. I just want to say for Joel Waterman, just quickly. Yeah, Eve, you're right. 1 year ago, I remember that first game of the season against Toronto. He started that game. He had a shocker, I think. Even though we won, he looked extremely poor. He didn't look up to the pace of MLS at all, and then sat on the bench for a good chunk of games when Kiki Struna was put in. Now we had people thinking, "Wow, what's up with Joel Waterman?" But this man just put his head down and worked and worked and worked and gained his place back. And at the end of the year, the trio of Camacho, Miller, and Waterman was absolutely excellent. And they're just picking up from last year. But shout out to Waterman. Not an easy progression, but he definitely deserves everything that's happened to him. Guys, I'll move on. Sorry, Hady, you wanted to...
One last word,
please,
because
please.
I try not to comment on stuff that I see on social media, but I can't. I can't. On this instance, I just can't, because there's a prominent ex-player of CF Montreal that said at one point last year that this player is slow and he's never gonna be an MLS player. He's never gonna be at the level of an MLS player, and he's not even supposed to be in the Montreal squad. I'm not gonna name that player, that the one that said it, but when he said that, I was like, dude, no, this guy is progressing a lot. This guy is really doing a lot, and we saw it at the end of the season, like you said, Sam. And right now, yeah, I think he's proving what he's worth.
Yeah, definitely. Guys, it was more of the same in the first half, following, for the following 15 minutes. I'm sorry. Then in the 35th, Kyoto delivered a beautiful ball to Lapalainen across the penalty area. And after Lapalainen completely froze Ruan, he missed the net by more than a foot when he was, let's say, about 6 yards out. Guys, what happened on that play? And at that moment, had it become a bit mental for Lassie? Like, it was just a mental blockage? Because I think, once again, it was easier to score than to miss that goal.
Yeah. That was twice in one match. Oh boy. But I don't know. Lassie gonna Lassie. I feel bad because I don't feel like anybody had a terrible game yesterday, but it wasn't meant to be for Lassie. I'm just gonna say that it wasn't meant to be for Lassie, but whatever. I'm still feeling good vibes, so I'll just say it wasn't meant to be.
It wasn't meant to be. He played a good game, I think. Just the fact that he created those chances and he was at the right time. He was there on the end of those chances. That's already a very good thing, a very positive thing, right? Now, the thing is, though, I think he needs to learn to stop, trying to curl the ball exactly the same way to the left side of the keeper. He tried it twice, and then the first time, Galicia made the stop. The second time, he didn't even hit the target because I think goalkeepers know now that that's exactly what he's gonna do. He never does anything else. It's when we say he's a one-trick pony, he kind of is, right? Now he's trying to change his game. When he's on the wing, and we saw him try to cross the ball with his left foot a couple of times in the last game, not yesterday, but in the last game. But he needs to change other things too, and his finishing, by curling the ball to the small area of the net is not really, like, he needs to do something better, something else sometimes. Maybe try to chip the ball or to shoot it with power on the other side of the goalie. I don't know. Something has to change with Lassie.
Yeah, but there was something about that. I was just wondering at some point, what was the scouting report on Galici? Because clearly he is excellent.
He is a really good keeper.
With shots really low, okay? Mihailovic, a few minutes later, was sent through. Galici stopped him low. So now I was wondering, I think we've got like 4 or 5 clear-cut opportunities. We went low every time Galici got them. I mean, it's not something that we learned yesterday, that Galici is good stopping ball shots with his feet, stopping low shots. So, I mean, you need a certain at a certain moment, you got a scouting report on the other team on their tactics, on their movements, on their ideas. For sure, you have one on the opposition goalie. Man, when you're that close, you put you try to go higher if he's that good. This low, and if you do hit him, you're gonna hit him somewhere where it hurts, and he might be a bit shyer next time to get that save out. So I was kind of wondering, like, why always the same type of shots were directed towards Galese. That's something that,
to the defense of Georgie, he didn't have any other choice to shoot the ball, because that was the only one to shoot it with his toes, because there was a defender right on the ball. Like, if he hadn't done that, we wouldn't have he wouldn't have had a shot at all. So I think he didn't have any other choice on that. I think he did very well, Georgie, on that.
No, for sure he did well, but I was just thinking, like, the whole way we approached, like, clear-cut opportunities against Galese, man. Because going into halftime, it shouldn't have been 1-0, right? It should have been like 3 or 4. So that kind of brings me to my question to you guys. We went into halftime with a 1-0 lead, probably feeling that we should be leading 4 or 5. What were your thoughts at the break, guys?
More of the same, please. Yeah, basically, because Montreal, I did not feel like Orlando was remotely in the game. I mean, Orlando gave Montreal absolutely nothing to deal with in the first half. It was like really shocking from them. But all the same, that it only takes one opportunity, as we learned later on, for a team to come back in the game. So I never ever feel like a 1-goal lead is enough for Montreal, ever.
You never feel that a 2-goal lead is enough for Montreal.
No, it's the most dangerous lead. 2-0 is the most dangerous lead. So don't get me started on that, or we'll be here all night. So no, I wanted Montreal to come back out basically with the exact same ambition that they had in the first half.
Hady, what would be your halftime team talk?
Continue exactly what you're doing, and just be careful, be cautious, because just one set piece, one header, and we're back to 1-1, right? And that's exactly what happened in the second half. At one point, it wasn't 1-1, but it was 2-1.
Yeah, I guess I'll just bring you back. How confident were you of the pair, Chouanière and Piet, holding on to what they had been doing in the first half?
Well, I mean, I was a little concerned, particularly for Mathieu Chouanière, because he had not played a single minute since his injury in early March. So I was a little concerned as far as that side of things goes. But overall, I really enjoyed watching the two of them in the midfield. I didn't feel like we were missing a lot, without Wanyama and Kone there. So I was quite content to let them continue if they were physically feeling up to it.
And we had a graphic, Hady, if you want to bring it out, because that stirred some controversy on Twitter, and you got called out, Hady, because you said that Samuel Piet had an extremely good game. Let's look at his first half passing stats. So just look the first of all, the territory that Sam Piet covered, and the number of passes in dark that he completed versus the number of passes in gray that he didn't complete. Look, rightly or wrongly, Samuel Piet has some haters, and they're very strong on the hate board. Guys, I really thought Samuel Piet had a solid first half, and he kind of showed slightly more versatility than he did in the past years in that performance, particularly in the first half.
Yeah, I think that Samuel Piet played his game. He played Samuel Piet. He played his role. His role is to really defend, to win the ball back, and to play short passes. But what he added into his game is changing sides directly with some long passes, and you see it in the graphic. A lot of times it's not short passes that he played. He just played long passes to change the ball from one side to the other. And that's something that's very important for a defensive midfielder to add to his game. So I think he had an awesome game, a very very good game. Now we see the long passes, like the passes forward. Most of them are in gray. We know that it is something that he needs to improve on. But if you see the pass that he made to Lassie is grayed out because it is completed though, even if
Ruan got a touch.
He got a touch, but
but it's a completed pass for me. Yeah, absolutely.
He completed the purpose of the pass.
Yes.
But that's how it gets measured on the graphics.
Yeah.
Sorry.
On the graphics, even if it does reach the recipient indirectly, it still gets grayed out.
It's not indirectly. He didn't reach it indirectly. It reached him directly. It's just
but her point is that her point is that it's in gray when Lassie benefited of the pass perfectly and even got a shot off it. So I think we have to look at this in a way that St-Piet has improved his game a lot, because we used to talk about St-Piet always as a destructor. Let's just sit him in front of the defense. He's going to break up the play and he's going to give it to someone who knows how to make a pass. I think Samuel Piet is more than that now. And maybe he arrived in Montreal being a bit more of a destructor, a bit more of a pure number 6. But yesterday he wasn't just contented sitting in front of the center backs. He was moving along a lot. He was helping the offense. He was doubling, creating some overloads on the wings too, particularly on the left wing, helping out Lassie, helping out Mihailovic. So I really liked his game. I really liked his game, but Piet is never going to be a player that you're going to look at him without looking at the stats, without looking at the fine prints and say, wow, he had a fantastic game. It's a bit more subtle, but still very, very solid for me.
No, I definitely liked it, and I thought it was a way more versatile role than what we had previously seen in the past. And maybe he benefited from the fact that Wanyama wasn't there, so that because a lot of what he and Wanyama would do is kind of they occupy really similar roles, and so when they're there, obviously Wanyama would be the one with more license to be a little bit more ambitious, I guess, if you will, with the ball. So without Victor Wanyama there kind of leading that build out of the back, St-Piet had a bit more license to do that.
Yeah, absolutely. Guys, I'll move you to the second half now. It didn't take us long in the second half to get our goal number 2. It was a quick transition starting with Piet and Johnston in our own half that saw Torres in space in midfield, and he played it out to the right to Johnston, who crossed it perfectly to Mihailovic at the second post. Guys, what was your thoughts on that goal?
Excellent start.
Amazing. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, exactly what I'd asked for at halftime. That was exactly what was on the menu, in my opinion. No, it was really, really well worked. I thought it was a nice, quick sequence of passes. I thought I really liked Torres's pass out to Johnston as well, because I think definitely the defenders were caught sleeping. I mean, it was very shocking defending by Orlando because Mihailovic was wide open at the back post. But no, I liked the whole sequence from the start. I liked, that Alistair Johnston was involved in the initial kind of setup of the play, and then he continued his run down the end. Loved it.
Hady.
Yeah, and collectively, that's an amazing goal. The coach must be very happy to see those kinds of goals because, it shows that your team is clicking. And that's exactly what it is. The team clicked and they played together. And nobody really tried to be the hero. It's the team that was the hero, and that's what's really nice about it. Maybe in the last year we would have seen maybe Torres, just try to dribble and shoot the ball, and this year we saw Torres give the ball to Johnston. Johnston crossing an excellent cross to Mihailovic. Mihailovic directly in front of goal without a keeper. So that's what you want to see. That's what you want to see from a team.
Yeah, definitely. Guys, we'll fast forward it to the 72nd minute when João Moutinho of Orlando headed home following a corner. Now, at that moment, we were absolutely dominating Orlando. We had missed so many chances, and now we were only leading by 1. Was the pessimism surfacing for you guys?
No,
not
for me. Not at all.
No, honestly, even I felt okay.
No way.
I swear to God, I said like this was an anomaly. This goal was an anomaly, and I was annoyed that they conceded it because Montreal had played so very well. I didn't think Orlando deserved anything, but I felt okay. Disturbingly, I felt like they were still in control, and I felt like it was really a blip on the radar in the whole scheme of the match. In hindsight, though, like kind of the cold light of day, I know this Montreal team, and they had moments where things maybe didn't go, and they had like those 5 minutes of lapse of concentration, and all of a sudden found themselves burned. But I think Montreal has come a long way with that as far as the mentality of it goes, because of how many matches they've come from behind to get something from this season. So overall, I felt like what Montreal have shown after conceding in those last seven games, I'm like, it's okay. Montreal might survive.
Nice. Good. Right after that goal, Wilfried Nancy proceeded to his first substitution, bringing on Ahmed Hamdi for Mathieu Choinière. I got 2 questions for you guys. First of all, did you expect this substitution to come a bit earlier in the game? And second, we'll have to talk about Mathieu Choinière's performance. So just a thought on how he performed in that central midfield position.
Earlier, not really, because Mathieu Choinière was doing his job. I think he grew into the game. Mm-hmm. We're going to talk about his performance a bit later, but I think that Choinière was doing the job. The team was well in place. I don't know why we would have changed him earlier, but I was happy with the change because Hamdi would come in with a fresh pair of legs. Mm-hmm. He's someone that's very fluid. And that's exactly what you need when you make a change. You need someone that really plays 1 touch, 2 touches, and I think that was the game plan too in the middle of the pitch. And we're going to talk about that a bit later for sure. So yeah, no, I think it was the right time. Nancy, I think, had an amazing game altogether. I think he I'll talk about it later, but I'll tell you, for me, he outmatched Oscar Pereira. It's as simple as that. He taught him a lesson. As simple as that.
Okay. I don't know if I go that far as teaching him a lesson. Yes, I do think Montreal definitely better.
I'll give you 5, 6 examples on why he taught him a lesson.
That's okay, because apparently you're going to do that in a minute. So I'll let you build up to it. No, I think for Mathieu Choinière, obviously, I would have been very, very surprised to see him go the full 90 minutes after returning from a few months out on injury. And I would expect probably there must have been some discussion probably with amongst the coaching staff as to kind of about how many minutes Mathieu Choinière felt he could play in the match. And he probably got a little bit more out of it, to be honest, because Orlando really was not putting up the fight that we would have expected from them. So he probably even got a few more minutes out of it than maybe he would have anticipated, as far as physicality wise and feeling okay and everything. So overall, no, but Hamdi was definitely, I think, for me, the logical replacement for him as well. That being said, and no, I liked what he brought in the midfield. We haven't seen a lot of Mathieu Choinière in the midfield, but I liked it. To be honest, I liked it. And again, I'm taking it with a grain of salt because Orlando was so poor. I liked what he brought better than what Kone has been bringing the past few games in that role.
Oh, that's an interesting take, Eva. On the sub, I had the feeling that Choinière might have started to fade a bit in his final minutes that he was on the pitch. So before that substitution, I think Piet was much more active than him, and Choinière was a bit more, a bit more stationary, a bit less mobile. So I would have maybe expected that change to come slightly earlier. What I did like about Mathieu Choinière's performance is, he kind of looked almost happy to be playing in that position. He was really thriving in contributing, and there must have been a little sense of something to prove from he and Piet together now that they had the start, and it was good to see. There was one thing though that kind of stood out for me, is that Mathieu Chouanier has been used to play that wingback position, and usually that wingback position isn't a 360 position in a sense that you have the play always in front of you. Now that he had to have eyes behind his head, and take information from everywhere on the pitch, I feel sometimes he was a bit disoriented on where the pressure was coming, on where his teammates were positioned on the pitch. For sure, it didn't help that he didn't play for a while, but you kind of felt that he had still these wing back vibes a bit, and that he was he had that habit of playing there. So it's a bit difficult going into a position where you need to up your awareness in a sense. But apart from that, I like this game. I think I kind of feel that the team is better when he's playing down that left wing. But he's a very good option in center midfield. So I didn't really hate what I saw, but yeah, I wouldn't say he had a good game or a great game. I think he did all right. Yeah.
Oh wow, yeah. You're really tough on him. I think I agree with you, Sam. Maybe the first 20 minutes of the game, yes, he was a bit disoriented. I completely agree with you. But afterwards, I think he grew into it. I think he played some very nice forward passes. He dribbled a couple of guys at one point. We saw a Mathieu Chouanier that was back to being a midfielder. But he played what 75 minutes?
72.
72 minutes.
72 minutes. So yeah, maybe 20 minutes where he was a bit disoriented, but then I think he was okay. But I understand where you're coming from. But yeah, I still think that Mathieu Chouanier is a player that can give us a help in the midfield whenever we need to.
Yeah. I guess 4 minutes later, so in the 76th minute, Wilfried Nancy this time went for a double substitution. He took off Alistair Johnston, who seemed to be limping at that moment, and was replaced by Zachary Beauguillard. And Romel Kyoto left for Kai Kamara. Guys, the subs paid off immediately. Kamara kept the play alive in the corner deep inside Orlando territory, and eventually ZBG delivered a beautiful ball to Joaquin Torres, who scored on a good half-turn goal. So I have a little question here, and the first question is, good goal or poor defending by Orlando?
A little column A, a little column B.
You mean the third goal?
Yeah, Joaquin Torres' goal.
Torres' goal.
No, I think it was a good goal from Montreal. I think that. Yeah, go ahead.
No, I was going to speak more to the finish. So if you're going to speak more to building up, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Okay. No, I was going to say, I think the finish was really good because he caught it and he was a little bit off balance, but he managed to keep the ball so close to his body. And of course, the defender couldn't do anything because if the defender, so much just breathed on him, he'd probably give a penalty. So I thought Joaquin Torres, given the kind of the position he was initially almost back to goal when he received the ball. So to be able to turn and put it into the back of the net, for me, that's a really, really good finish. Excellent finish.
I see where you're going, Sam. I know that he's not supposed to be able to turn with the ball and shoot it. I understand, but still.
But the defender was right there.
Yeah, but he's not supposed to let him turn.
No, I know.
You need to close him down and not able to. He's not able to. He's not supposed to be able to turn. That's 100%. So I see where you're going there, and I'm going to let you speak. But I still think that Torres had so many options in the box that the defender was lost. So I'll let you speak now.
Yeah, and Thomas Williams is 17 years old, right? And he showed all of his inexperience exactly on that play because he had no business being a yard behind Torres on this play. And, you need to know your opposition. And now you're 75 minutes into the game. Torres is a left-footed player. It screams that Torres plays with his left foot 99% of the time. So Thomas Williams has to be hard on Joaquin Torres and physically place his body to force Torres to, if he is going to turn on his right foot. Right foot being on that play, the shorter side of the goal, being where Pedro Galese is placed. So now you're almost giving an easy save to Galese. It would have been that easy, probably. Look, it's easy sitting in the stands in 125 with your friends and analyzing. But I think, when Thomas Williams is going to be shown this sequence on video, obviously he will, because it was a mistake by him. He'll learn easily how to not make this error again.
We have a question from Patrick White. Do you think Torres is better when he's not the clear-cut starter? I think he plays better when there is pressure to perform.
I agree with Patrick.
The stats seem to agree with Patrick. He leaves the lineup for a bit and he comes back, and there's usually a positive impact, versus when he strings together a slew of matches as a de facto starter and often is pretty invisible, or leaves the spectators rather frustrated because he kind of just dribbles into nowhere and stuff.
Yeah, I'm not sure what to. I think he needed a rest. I want to see him again, rested. Maybe the next game in Charlotte, to make an opinion and to have an opinion on that. But I think he did need a rest. So that's why, when he got rested, he played very well against Orlando. So I just want to make sure that we see a bigger sample size of him resting or, accumulating games in order to make an opinion on that.
Yeah, most definitely. And guys, the good vibes continued a minute later when ZBG intercepted a ball, played a give and go with Torres, and took a tight angle shot into the opposite side of the net to confirm the victory. I absolutely loved Zachary Bourguillard in that game. Loved him. 10 on 10 for me. We've been campaigning almost like intensely to see more of ZBG. I want to hear you guys on just his general performance and his attitude. The attitude he came into this game. What was up with him?
Is it time to show the picture that you wanted me to show?
Okay, yeah. So I'll just put it into context before I show it. Look at ZBG on that. He's celebrating his goal and he's kind of giving that shh or
like the shh.
The sh or the I'll say the shut up sign with his finger in front of his mouth. What to who was that directed? Was it
to us, man?
To us.
To us.
We've been saying for so long that he needs to play.
No, I was gonna say that he wasn't good enough, right?
No, I never said that.
It was the crossing that wasn't good enough. The crossing.
Yeah, the crossing was, but no, I mean, I think Zachary Bourguillard entered this game with a chip on his shoulder. It was obvious, he was everywhere, and I mean, look, he had a message to pass, I think, to the coaching staff too. And Chan says ZBG equals Marcelo on that play. Oh yeah.
Yeah,
absolutely.
You're right, man. But I just want to say, I did went a bit too hard on ZBG at one point in this pod, and I think I still believe in what I said. For me, it was a finishing touch, whatever. Even if it was a cross or a shot, it's his shot selection or his decision making wasn't really the right one for a lot of games. And during that game, he proved me wrong. He had a very good cross to Torres on that third goal, and he scored a goal afterwards. Now we're gonna talk about that goal. A big mistake from Pedro Galese, in my opinion. It's just not normal that this goes into the back of the net. Galese should make that stop. 99% of the time, right? But you know what? Credits and props to ZBG for trying it out and scoring, because you needed the perfect shot. It's not an easy shot to take. Even if Galese should have stopped it, it was, I think, very powerful and directly exactly where ZBG wanted it. So you know what? Good for him. Very, 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 very happy for him.
Eve.
Yeah, no, I can pretty much completely agree. I think I'm sure he can't escape all the speculation that's been going on, even if maybe he tries not to pay too much attention to what people are talking about, online and in the media and stuff about why is ZBG not playing? And so I'm sure that's got to weigh on somebody a little bit. And I'm sure he wants to be playing, week in and week out like he generally has been in his Montreal career up till this year. So the fact that he was offered, this opportunity when the substitution was made, and he really seized it with both hands. I thought he was really bold. I thought he clearly smelled the weakness in it was Joao Moutinho who was on his side of the field. He clearly sensed that weakness, was able to seize on his heavy touches, and I felt like he was bold, and he was way more decisive than in any recent match that I'd seen of him previously. So I feel like it shows that he is learning things, on the training ground while he's not necessarily playing.
Definitely. Yeah, I agree with Eve. And NHLP 5000 adds something else too, saying that he likes the fact that ZBG watched in the middle to see who was with him on that play and still took the shot when he saw that, he had that opportunity. So he had, the presence of mind to see if he could have played another ball than, trying a shot in a tight court, in a tight spot, right? And he saw that nobody was there. He tried his luck and it worked. So yeah, props to him again.
Yeah, shout out, man. And so the final substitutions saw Matko Miljevic and Georgia Quizera come in for Georgi Mihailovic and Joaquin Torres. It was a cool moment because Georgi left the field under MVP chance while Quizera got his first MLS minutes. Guys, just quick notes to close out the game. Joel Waterman picked up his 5th yellow card of the season and will be suspended for the trip to Charlotte. And dressed but unused substitutes were James Pantemis, Gabriele Corbo, Zoran Bassong, and Rida Zouir. So, guys, I just want to hear you if there's anything you want to add on the game before we jump into what happened after the game, because there was stuff that happened after the game too.
Is it time right now to talk about Nancy versus Pareja, or do you want to leave it to later?
No, it's time, Hady. Go ahead.
Listen, I just want to prove my point because I've had a few discussions on Twitter regarding that. People telling me that, it was a reserve defense with a 17-year-old and a reserve central defender. And for me, it's irrelevant. We haven't seen anything from Orlando during that game at all. Now, we can talk about player performance. We can say that, the players weren't good. And you know what? Yes, okay, maybe the players weren't good. But when you look at the stats, that's one of my first points. If you look at the stats, Montreal had 20 shots on goal, 10 on target. Orlando had 2 shots on goal, 1 on target. You look at that and you're like, is it only the players? Is it only the fact that the players weren't on a good day that you see such a difference? And for me, no, it's not at all. Because Wilfried Nancy, and we're going to talk about the presser afterwards, but Wilfried Nancy had a very important tactic in mind. He made sure that nobody went and that Orlando didn't play in the middle of the pitch. And that's why you had Piet and you had Chouanière. You talked about Chouanière earlier, Sam, being stationary. I think that was wanted because you have a player like Mauricio Pereira that's with Orlando, and he lives in the middle of the pitch.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
He lives there, right? So you close up that option, and you don't have much, right? You don't have much on Orlando. They don't play on the wings. They don't. Last year, they used to play with when you had Chris Mueller. But this year you don't, because you don't even have Daryl Dike to put on headers, right? So you play in the middle of the pitch. And, Nancy taught him a lesson and told him, you know what, you're not gonna control my midfield. How many times did we see a play come from the middle of the pitch for Orlando?
And Hady, if I can add something, and you just made me wonder, it's true what you say, because you would see a lot of mostly Kamal Miller and Joel Waterman pinch very hard on Pato when he was going on their side. So they didn't even want Pato to play in combination. They were like trying to break up the play, even when Pato was dropping in a kind of a false 9 position. They were following him very deep to almost put an extra body next to Piet in a sort of high pressure pinching type of way. So Hady, I think you're right on that one.
And then you have some very good players in Orlando. We talked about the defense, and for me, again, it's irrelevant. But look at the offensive players. You have Facundo Torres, the Uruguayan. That's a very, very good player. You have Alexander Pato. Yes, of course, he's not the player that he used to be, but still, he's had a very good beginning of the season.
Scored on Montreal earlier this year.
Exactly, scored on Montreal. And you have Benji Michel. That's a very strong and physical player that plays on the wing, but most of the time cuts in the middle of the pitch, right? So you have all those players and all this talent in the middle of the pitch, and you're not able to create not even one chance. Not even one dangerous chance. There wasn't even one dangerous chance conceded by Montreal during the whole game.
Well, the only shot that Orlando put on target was João Moutinho's header. That
the
was
set
the goal.
piece. Yeah, but that's a set piece. Like
no, absolutely.
It didn't happen.
You're right.
In play, it didn't happen. So I understand that we like to look at Wilfried Nancy being the small coach that's coming from the academy that doesn't have the pedigree. And you know what? He out-coached Oscar Pareja. And for me, I think I proved it today by giving you all the stats possible and all the information that I can give you. So yeah, that's
Eve,
my...
what's your comeback?
I didn't say that he didn't outcoach him.
No, I know. But you told Eddie to tone down maybe a bit, and
I said I was gonna let him have at her.
That's not what you said. That's not what you said.
I know. No. Come back. I remember because you said it was like he taught him a lesson.
Yeah, he taught him a lesson.
No, okay. I think. I mean, for me, that's like if you spank the team like 8-0.
You did 4-1, man, and you should have won 8-1.
Okay, look, I'm having a semantical difference with you. Okay, I am having a difference of semantics with you. But for me, if you had stopped your sentence that he outcoached him, I would have been like, "Yep, he did."
but
he taught him a lesson.
Almost in Hady's defense, but I'm not as deep as Hady. The possession stats 59-41 for Montreal, and the shot stats 22, and Montreal put 10 on goal. Orlando put only the header by Moutinho on goal. So one thing I will say about Wilfried Nancy, I was getting a bit critical. I was getting a bit disappointed with his coaching when we were in that down period before this streak. But I have to tip my hat off to him because some things we were requesting a lot of changes. We were requesting to move past that back 3-ish, back 5. We were requesting like difference in positions. We were demanding a lot of adjustments. Wilfried Nancy made adjustments, but he stuck to some things that he thought were fundamentals of his team, and it proved him right. Okay, he did some very good adjustment. I think we're playing more direct. We're limiting turnovers deep in our zone. That was something that we would get bit in the butt every game.
Yeah,
no more now. So shout out to Wilfried Nancy. You can be stubborn, but you can be flexible and very intelligent too. And I think Wilfried Nancy has found the balance of all of that. So shout out to him. Eve, I've got a question for you. How was the ambience at the tailgate before the game, and how was your experience in the stands? And I just add another little question for you. What did you make of the 14, just a bit north of 14,000 that was announced by the club?
Okay, so I'll take your questions in order, I guess. So tailgate was really, really, really good. So 127 did a big nacho buffet, and then of course 1642 had their usual setup. So really good vibes. The weather was fantastic, obviously, so could not have asked for anything better. Everybody had their beverages, and we had the games out, playing Molky. I lost, of course, as you do. And not only did Gabriel Gervais stop by the tailgate, along with Salvatore Rivera, who came last week as well, but Joey Saputo also came to meet the people.
Did you shake his hand?
No, I had food in my hand.
Did you show him his tweet of 2014?
No, because I muted that tweet. I can't find it even if I want to.
Okay.
He he and Gervais talked with the supporters. They ate with the supporters, took pictures with them. So overall, it was really positive. For me, I've not heard of Joey Saputo being at a tailgate before.
No, me neither.
And certainly Kevin Gilmore, in my time in 2019 on, he was not at the tailgates either. So this is new, really, and I think it's a big positive and a step in the right direction that they are trying to listen to their supporters more than in the past. So I thought that was fantastic. Really, really pleased to see them.
And the attendance, Eve.
Yes, attendance. So it was about 1,000 people less than the previous week, right? 14,000.
Yeah.
It was like
14,023 for 14,023, I think.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So we'll say about 1,000 less. Because I think the last one was 1,560. So definitely a little bit disappointing knowing how fantastic the weather was. Like, I don't know what other people have going on in their lives on a beautiful, glorious Saturday afternoon. And I feel bad for the 6,000 or so people who weren't there because they missed out. But I thought that the overall feeling in the stadium was positive. I think I talked about it before previously that, you could feel kind of this awkward tension in the stadium when we didn't know, status of the rebrand, status of the president, status of the various supporter groups, blah, blah, blah. So it kind of feels like we're starting to see things moving in the right direction. And so we're starting to see some more positivity, and we're starting to feel that in the stands. So hopefully, if there are new fans showing up to these games, they're going to be continuing to show up because it's not as tense as it's been in maybe the last several months.
Excellent point. Yeah. Hady, you were present at the press conference. What did Coach Nancy have to say on his team's performance?
Before I'm reading a comment here from Alain saying that CPL to Pointe-Claire is confirmed.
I wish.
I'm like, okay.
No,
says who?
Because Chan was sending him a message. They say that there was 400 fans from Pointe-Claire Football Association, so they helped to get the number up to 14,000. So shout out to them.
Welcome back anytime, Pointe-Claire.
Yeah, for sure.
Listen, there was so many points in the press conference, the post game press conference. I think a very interesting post game conference, in my opinion. First of all, with Fred Nancy, there was a lot of problems with sound at first. I don't know if you guys knew, but a lot of problems. But they finally were able to fix it. And Wilfried Nancy was very happy, in a very, very happy mood.
How could you not be?
But sometimes they win, and he's like almost pissed off. He's always a surprise in these press conferences.
This year they lost, and he was happy for them. So I don't know.
I know.
But sometimes it's a communication. It's communication, right? If you put your players under the bus after a big defeat, you're not gonna get out. You're not gonna get anything from them in training.
No, I know. I'm just poking fun.
Yeah, I know. But he was at one point. There's a journalist, I think Jean-François Théotonio, that asked him from La Presse, that asked him, how can we name Joaquin Torres, if not Fourmi Atomique? So the atomic bomb, atomic ant. Sorry, that's a nickname for Sebastian Javinko. He's like, what is the nickname that we can give him? And Nancy was kind of, cooled him off a bit, and he's like, obviously, Torres had a very good game. He did some very good things, but let's not get ahead of ourselves.
Yeah,
I'm happy that he's back on track and doing good things. But let's not get ahead of ourselves, and I like that because
I agree.
That's exactly the kind of answer that I wanted to hear, right?
No, and I completely agree with that answer.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, exactly. Now, I asked him a question that I thought was very, very, very interesting. Why Mathieu Chouanière next to Samuel Piette? And I loved his answer. His answer was like, that was exactly what I was looking for from that duo. in the midfield. I wanted them to play a certain way, and they played exactly the way I wanted them to play. And second of all, he said they know each other very well. There's a lot of complicity between them, and they know exactly how to play with each other. And you know what? I love that part. Making sure your two starting defensive midfielders or box-to-box midfielders are not here. Let's go with people that know each other very well, that know how to play with each other very well. And I liked his answer. I think he thought of it more logically than only tactically, and I think that's the right way to do it.
Like the human side of it.
Yeah, exactly. It does play into account, yeah. So good.
Exactly. Good. And he was asked, Mathieu Choignard was asked the same question. And
so Hady, Mathieu Choignard was made available to the press, and there was Joel Waterman too, right? So
exactly.
Choignard and Waterman.
It had to be Joel Waterman.
Yeah, so hit us up on that. What did they have to say?
Mathieu Choignard, when he was asked exactly the same question, he answered, I know him very well from back then, from a few years ago. And the second thing that he said is like, we know how to communicate, and we communicate in French. And I like that French answer, because we tend to forget that it's their first language, right? So it's easier for them to communicate in French because it's their first language. So it comes naturally to just talk with your teammate right away, and without really thinking of what are the words that you're going to choose, right? So I like that answer too from Mathieu Choignard. Also, he was asked how he felt playing in midfield. And he said that it took him a bit of time to adjust because it's a different, and exactly like you said, Sam. But he said, afterwards, I think I felt very well, and I found my game again, and I was very happy. And he's like, you know what, I don't really mind where Coach Nancy puts me. I'm available for Coach Nancy if he wants to play me as a right wing back, left wing back, or in the middle. I'm here to help. So I like that, the usual answer.
Yeah,
but I really
of course.
And then for Joel Waterman, and I asked him, can we say that it's the best game that you've played in MLS with CF Montreal? And his answer was like, it's funny that you asked me that question, because I just received a text from my dad saying that I just watched my son play his best MLS game ever.
Yeah.
And you know what? I love that answer. He seemed like he seemed touched and very happy that his dad, told him that, and being asked that, I think he was very happy. He was also very happy about his goal. He said, it's my first MLS goal. And he joked a bit. He's like, players were making fun of me a bit in the dressing room. Even he said that they asked him to touch a Kamal Miller to get his scoring aura or whatever it is before the game, or maybe hold his hand a bit and everything. Nice. So they were making fun of him because he didn't score yet. And you know what?
Oh my God!
He did score a goal.
Nice.
So he's like, at least
now
they didn't leave me alone, So
beautiful.
It was nice. It was nice. A nice press conference, I think. Really, really interesting.
Yeah, and overall a nice day of football in Montreal. So that was a really positive day, all in all. So from the start, like you were saying, Yves, to the game. Of course, you were at the tailgate. The game was good. Hady, the presser was good. So everything's fine. So, guys, I think we'll move on quickly to preview Charlotte, because we have that interview with Alain that's coming up, and we don't want. I'm really anxious to hear what he has to say. So,
yeah.
So next up for us is Charlotte away, and it will be the first time that Montreal will visit Bank of America Stadium to face the expansion side. Charlotte is presently 8th in the East with 13 points. They have 4 wins, 1 draw, and 6 losses. They have a goal differential of -3. They won at home yesterday. Against Inter Miami, 1-0 via a goal by Andre Shinyashiki. Us, Montreal, we're currently third in the East on 17 points. And for the first time this year, our goal differential is positive with +1 now. Guys, I just want to hear you really, really quickly on a few points. The first one is, could Charlotte be a bit of a trap for us?
I don't know. Like, I feel bad because the only matches I know of Charlotte are the only matches they've ever played. I feel bad because it's such a small sample size to get to know a team. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I think Charlotte have been really overperforming compared to how their roster build went, because their roster build was just a nightmare. It was nothing worked. Nobody would come. This signing fell through, that signing fell through, and so on. So I think they've been largely outperforming expectations of them. And when you have a team like that who kind of have that chip on their shoulder, because I believe they were also pretty much unanimously pegged as last in the conference this year, you know how that chip on the shoulder can motivate a team. So absolutely.
Yeah, and we have to be careful also the adversity in Charlotte. It's going to be very hard to go play there. The opener in Charlotte, 74,479 people showed up. That's like, wow, very, very big crowd. That's exactly what Holy Gale said, Yves' mom. No, sorry, Alain said, sorry. Road game, big crowd. A dude named Fuchs, Christian Fuchs, for people that don't know him. Definitely a trap game. I agree with him. I do agree with him. I'm afraid about the whole adversity and the ambiance that we're going to see in Charlotte. But, if you look at the two squads, Montreal squad is better.
On paper, yeah.
On paper, exactly. Yeah. So we'll see what's going to happen.
And guys, who replaces Joel Waterman? Just for anyone who missed it, Joel Waterman is suspended for the trip to Charlotte.
That's very, very a very hard question, because we don't know if Alistair Johnston is injured too.
Yeah.
So if Alistair Johnston is injured, sorry, go ahead, Eve.
No. I was just I was like, that. Go ahead.
Yeah. So if Alistair Johnston is injured too, I would play Corbo and then that ZBG. If not, I would play Alistair Johnston as a DCR, so central right center defender, and ZBG as. I'm not convinced of Corbo.
Yeah, you know what? I'd go with that too. Johnston, I hope, I don't think we had any update on his status. I hope it was only precautionary. Maybe he felt a twitch. He wasn't feeling 100% given the scoreline. Nasi said, you know what, come and sit, and ZBG will come in. So if he's ready to go, who replaces Joel Waterman? ZBG. But to do that, you have to push Alistair Johnston at right center back, and ZBG will play that right wing back role.
Yes.
Otherwise, now you have to look maybe at Gabriel Corbo, but only if Alistair Johnston isn't 100%, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think we're unanimous on this one.
Good. So, guys, I'll go with my classic. Montreal will win if, and Montreal will lose if. And if you guys are not ready, I can go.
Go ahead, man.
Okay. I think Montreal will win if they continue just, trusting the process that they're on at the moment. They finally found a balance, I think, in their tactical ideas and the execution on the pitch, not overdoing it, not oversimplifying it either. So I think that's really the idea, is to just continue to roll on that balance that they finally found. And Montreal are going to lose if they get caught on to all the spectacle of Charlotte, the full stadium, that amazing Bank of America stadium that is for the Carolina Panthers of the NFL at first, and all the all the show that comes with an expansion team. So if they get caught out a bit of concentration, like like they are very, very focused at the moment. If they just lose a bit of that focus, we could get caught. But my feeling is a positive result for Montreal. Whoever's ready, guys.
I'll start. Montreal loses if they don't control their emotions and they don't control themselves with the adversity with the crowd.
Mm-hmm.
Don't forget that Charlotte is 4 wins, 1 loss only at home. Which is a very good record. Because of the crowd, and Montreal will win if they're able to control their emotions. Exactly the same thing.
Makes sense, man.
Because I think it's all gonna be mental in that game, because as I said a bit earlier, quality is on Montreal's side, in my opinion. So emotions, the mental side of things is going to be very important.
Eve.
So for me, I managed to catch a little bit of the game, and I don't think they have the fastest defense in the league. Obviously, we all know Christian Fuchs certainly is no spring chicken.
No.
But the rest of I don't think they're a particularly rapid defense. So I think should be able to exploit. Montreal does have lots of pacey players, particularly if the ZBG does get a start, for example. And then and so I think Montreal, if they can exploit that, maybe if Georgie or Joaquin Torres, whoever starts, can pull off some nifty trickery and catch them out, I think Montreal could win for that. And I think Montreal will lose if, kind of what you guys said, getting swept away by the atmosphere in Charlotte, getting overwhelmed by that. I think, that could be detrimental to Montreal's cause.
Excellent. So we'll keep that in mind before next week, and we'll see if any one of us was right. Guys, it's time to move on right into our interview of the week, and we're joined by Alain Pouliot. For anyone who's doubting who Alain is, you might best know him on Twitter as Al, and his Twitter handle is @JaimeLeSoccer. Alain, thanks for joining us.
My pleasure, guys. After all these hours spent listening to your podcast, somebody's going to have to explain to me why 2 hours is the new minimum threshold for podcasts now. But I really always a great listen to you guys.
Thank you.
We used to be 3 hours and a half, right?
We're doing better now. But today we might go a bit long as we have so much to talk about.
That's the thing. Yeah, there's so much.
Well, maybe every time Hady has a kid, he can chop off an hour.
So, Alain, before we start the interview, because we brought you in today because you were at Lumen Park to witness the second leg of the Champions League final between Seattle and Pumas. But everyone wants to know what's up with that Bjorn Janssen jersey behind you. So can you give us the story behind it, please?
Yeah, it's becoming legendary at this point.
Yeah.
I'm hoping to resell it for a large profit after the next rebrand. It was really, when they did the rebrand, it was January of 2021, the stuff came out, and I'm usually good about getting jerseys. In this particular case, I mean, it was so intense and negative, and I wanted to get one just to, maybe counterweight a lot that was going on, but I didn't know who to take. At that moment in time, Mihailovic, we had underperformed in Chicago. Miller, defender, I don't know. We have a DP striker coming in, $1 million. He's scoring a whole bunch in South Korea. It's a sure thing. So anyway, decided to go with Bjorn, and it's maybe I cursed him by getting this 1-of-1 edition, but I wish him the best. It's been a tough year for him this year. So he seems like a good dude. So I'm hoping he comes back after the international break and hopefully puts a few in before we probably part ways with him, I'm guessing, for next year.
Yeah, I think that's what's on the table. But you're bringing more optimism than a lot of people have on him.
My God, you've seen the light.
If we can't do it after a 7-game unbeaten streak, I don't know whenever we will be able to do it.
That's the thing. So, Alain, let's jump right into the interview. I want to know, what was the buzz in Seattle? Because for anyone who doesn't know, Alain, you do live in Seattle, right?
Yeah, I've been living in the area now for about 7 years. Strangely enough, I moved in the spring of 2015, so I missed a few important events that spring in Montreal.
Oh no.
Yeah, good timing, huh?
So what was the buzz in Seattle leading up to that second leg?
Yeah, I mean, it was a slow start. Like CCL is just not the same thing in the US as it is probably in the Canadian markets. Well, except Vancouver, because they never get anywhere. But let's say probably for a Toronto and a Montreal. And so it really took, I think, time to build. And I would even say that if they hadn't gotten a pretty decent result on the road, I don't know if it would have become what it became. Don't get me wrong, Seattle always draws well. Like it's not that at all. But in terms of once they got the 2-2 result, and then you just saw like the power of sports in Seattle, like all the clubs backing each other up. And it's really funny because the Sounders, we always talk in Montreal about like, oh, we need more media and campaigns. You don't see any of that for the Sounders at all in Seattle. It's, I think, word to mouth. It's probably like the team supporting each other, and people just show up. I don't think they need a good marketing campaign to show up. But in this case, it helped, and it really took off with a football player called Marshawn Lynch, who's the guy like
I know who that is.
There you go. And he did this, like they did like a really cool video of him. He's very well known in Seattle. And after that, like everybody just it was kind of like a mini viral thing. And it became like that big effing thing, campaign or, social media thing. And then it just, you kind of saw it snowballed. And then when people said, oh, plus 50, we're opening up the full upper deck, probably beat the record of all time. So I think we were a shade under 69K for that game. So, and Seattle shows up, and 69K when they show up. I mean, I was there for MLS Cup in 2019. I think the vibe was probably even more intense this time around.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
And for the 69K, Alain, was it difficult to get tickets? And if you can you give us an approximate price range to be in attendance?
Yeah, well, usually I do a pretty good job of trying to get close, but in this case, the prices, I mean, the prices were already like way up there. So I said, no way. And especially I'm bringing my young one.
Okay.
So at that moment, they had just opened up like the upper deck. So the way the stadium is made is usually they open up a section of the upper deck. But in this case, they kind of opened it all. So I was able to get tickets. So I think it cost me about maybe $50 a ticket or something like that. But, the reselling, even I think it was before the first leg was, or right after the first leg was already like 800, 900 US, like on the seats close to the field. So it was, I don't know if they all ended up selling or anything like that, but it's a pretty good indication that, I love my son, but I was not for
him. No kidding. I don't blame you. What was I going to say? Yes. So obviously, you talked about our first leg, and I'm willing to bet that the resale went way up after the first leg because Seattle had picked up a really good away 2-2 draw at Pumas. So how confident were you and were fans in general going into this game knowing that they had picked up such a good away result?
Yeah, I think most people were pretty confident. I mean, Seattle has been doing pretty well in that tournament, and the beginning of the year has been something else, but I think we're kind of used to it, coming from let's call it a CCL market, that if you go well, usually in CCL, you're going to pay for it from an MLS style, and that's exactly what's happening to them this year. So I think that they were, 2-2, no away goals rule were in effect, but I think that kind of set the tone that it was going to be pretty possible. I think even a lot of Mexican fans were, Pumas, as much as they wanted it, I think they were 12th in the table or something like that. Yeah. So it wasn't like the strongest Mexican team at that moment in play, but you never know. And honestly, like in that game, when Nuhu went down and then João Paulo went down, you're like, oh man, this is shaping up to be one of those CCL games where they're going to lose like 2-0 at home or something. But then magic at the extra time in the first half and beyond was just electric atmosphere. It was really great.
Oh my God. No. Awesome. Thrilled to hear it. But like, tell us kind of in general about I guess the day, your experience in getting there and stuff. So like, what time did you get to the stadium, and like, was there any kind of big march going on, and what was the overall vibe, the atmosphere entering into the stadium before the match?
Yeah, I mean, Seattle does like a good game day type of experience. I would say normally even more so on the weekends. So they have like their kind of their historic downtown. Usually that's where like the supporters will kind of start and then make their march in. Usually I don't go to that just because in terms of parking, especially I'm with my little one, it just makes it a little bit easier to park a little bit closer to the stadium and then kind of just jump in a little bit. But it was pretty electric. I got there at I think I want to say about 5:30 ish. The doors were opening at 5, so Pacific time. So it was about like 7, I think was the starting time. So we want to make sure we had time to get there. I hate being rushed. I hate missing stuff. So I'm definitely one of those fans that I'm sitting way before like monetize me. So had a beer, had some food, and then just kind of watch that weird DJ set. I don't know, like FIFA and CONCACAF are just really weird when it comes to in-game entertainment.
I know.
Odd. But the vibe was good. Like hats off to even like Pumas. I mean, like the fans, like they had a huge away game travel section, and even like kind of throughout the stadium, there were tons of fans. I don't know what the official number was, but I'd say between 8 and 10K of the fans of the 69, I think, were Pumas fans. They were everywhere. So, and they were good. I mean, they were all super friendly. You didn't get a sense of like tension in the crowds or anything like that. So it was that I saw anyway. So good vibe, great atmosphere, and it ended up being a nice win. So can't complain as a rather neutral. I was pro Seattle, but still kind of a neutral.
You always got to be pro MLS at the least, right?
Well, it depends. It's funny.
Not
the
Toronto.
day before, I had a really cool experience where I went to meet with some of the extra time folk, and so I was able to talk with some fans and all that. And they say, "Well, you're taking for Seattle?" And I said, "Well, yeah, but if it was any Eastern team or Vancouver, I don't think I would. In this case, Seattle's like not really a natural rival, I think at the end they're a very deserving club. I don't know if that counts for anything, but just a sustained excellence. And it just felt like if there was one team that was going to win it, like let it be a team like that and not like a weird, sorry for those fans, but like FC Dallas, like just goes on a hot run and like nobody cares like in Dallas what's going on.
That's mean, man. That's really mean. So you're telling me if you were living in, let's say, Chicago, and Chicago would have been in the CCL final, and so you wouldn't be for Chicago even if it's the city that you're living in?
I love it. Ooh, Alain, that's my kind of guy.
I just Chicago, like unfortunately they've been worse than us over the last decade or so. Yeah. There's not like a ton of hate, but like if it was like a Toronto, an Orlando, Red Bulls, I would boo them. I'd be against them.
Nice.
Yes, Alain. Yes, we are the same kind of fan. I am not one of those. All. There we go. No, because a lot of people, like especially when Toronto made the final, they were like, "Oh well, I'm gonna cheer Toronto because it's the best." No, I'm going there. A lot of people, not me. Definitely not me. They were like, because they deserve it, or because we want the Canadian team together. I was like, I could give a shit.
Same here.
It's Toronto. I don't want them to win a thing. So, Alain, I completely endorse your approach.
Yeah, great if a team gets there, great for their fan base, but I'm not like a pro MLS at any cost. This time it's I've been in Seattle now for over close to 7 years, so and I go to a lot of games as well. So it's not my team. I'm too converted. Sometimes some years I've wondered why, but it's really Montreal remains my team, but I don't mind when Seattle does well. I admire Portland as well. So they've had other issues off the field, but in terms of clubs and what they've accomplished over the past decade, it's hard not to root for them when they get to, especially against an Eastern team or Mexican team.
It's funny that you talk about Seattle, because now you look at the sporting model that Seattle has built. They do invest in certain DPs, but not as much as those new franchises that we've seen, like Atlanta and LAFC and those new franchises. They do mix in a few homegrowns, draft picks, intra MLS signings. And they do play an attractive style of soccer with a coach that for me is one of the maybe greatest head coaches of the history of MLS, Brian Schmetzer, who's been with the team for a long time. Do you feel that team is the best MLS candidate to finally win the Champions League?
Yeah, I definitely think so. I mean, they've never missed the playoffs. They've won a whole bunch of U.S. Open Cups. They've won 2 MLS Cups. They draw. They just have this consistency. If there's one thing that's there, it's consistency. And when we talk about transfer fees, well, they pay a transfer fees, but their stars are there for a couple of years. So take that transfer fee, split it over 3 or 4 years, and then you've got like less than a nacho salary. So, I think they're doing it in an intelligent way, and they're making a project that's interesting. And that's how then you can sign like an Albert Rusnak as kind of your off-season guy to kind of help you out. Why not?
Casually.
Here he's like a TAM midfielder. Like, okay, so I think that they've built this culture of consistency and excellence, and they blend everything together. And when João Paulo went down, unfortunately with his ACL injury, they brought in Vargas, who's a 16-year-old dude from their academy from Alaska, and they didn't even miss a beat. I mean, that's when you're bringing in the youth and you've got the ability financially to bring in a lot of pieces, high end, but I would say the middle end as well. That's absolutely fantastic. And, they had 2 local dudes as well. Jordan Morris, who's locally, Kellen Rowe as well. So like all of that comes together, and it creates this club that, the expectations are you're in it every year. And people just kind of show up. You don't need a marketing campaign. You don't need a rebrand, all that fun stuff. But it just creates this vibe of, just being super relevant in a sports crazy market. I'll give it that. But at the end of the day, I think their excellence over the past 12, 13 years gets them to be in that position.
Love the transition. Thanks a lot, Alain. Now with that CCL title, can we say that the Sounders is a dynasty in CONCACAF region?
It's excellence. Yes, dynasty is weird because their trophies are all over the place. But I think that they're one of the lighthouse clubs in North America, and I would include even for Liga MX. I think because they've been able to get star power, because they're excellent, because they're bringing in 40 plus K a game, because they're relevant in various tournaments every year. I think it just makes them super undeniable, like in the region. And the day that the purses open up, I don't think they'll ever go LAFC, LA Galaxy, Miami, and all that stuff. But I think they'll always be in the upper tier, and they're going to do it in a super intelligent way. They might have the best GM in the business in Lagerwey. I think that he did great stuff at Real Salt Lake before. He's doing it again now in Seattle. So I think they've just positioned themselves, as we say in French, incontournable.
Yeah, they are incontournable. And you know what? When you have a starting trio up front, or in the midfield with Nicolas Lodero, with Jordan Morris and Rui Diaz, it's very hard not to be a very good team, right? So
and their best player last year was maybe like João Paulo on top. So he's not even being mentioned. He was probably their best player last year.
He was. He scored a few stunners last year.
Very talented. That I think if a Jordan Morris goes down, he's had 2 big knee injuries, but João Paulo is going to hurt them more. That's going to be a tough one to replace, especially where they are right now. But it's early. They always turn it on, so they'll figure it out.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. None of us are worried.
Alain, thank you so much for passing by, man. It was a pleasure to talk to you. Finally get the chance to talk to you, man.
All right. Well, let's go Sounders, I guess, when they're not playing Montreal. They're here on June 29th, so I will be there. Pretty close to the field, so hopefully I'll be able to make some noise, and you'll hear some French obscenities on TV.
Excellent. I'll be listening keenly.
And guys, if I can just take a second. No problem, Alain. I just want to give a shout out to you, and I wanted to everyone to follow you on social media because you're really interesting to follow at J'aime le soccer, JMLESOCCER.
Appreciate it. You might want to mute me if we lose.
Exactly. That's exactly what I was gonna say.
No. I'm like, we lost. I'm like, who's feeling like I am?
Nah, he turns into a very, very mean Eve. Like very, very, very mean Eve.
I'll admit, after the NYCFC game, I don't think I've been that mad in many years.
Yeah, likewise.
I was mad.
Well, then we got to ride the highest while we've got it.
Exactly.
See ya, man.
All right, guys. Have a good evening. Happy Mother's Day,
Take
everybody.
care.
Happy Mother's Day.
Thank you for stopping by. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Oh, yeah. Also, happy Mother's Day, Mom. I know you're listening. Really, I'm sorry I didn't call you, but my voice is very hoarse this morning.
Yeah, I called my mom and she's like, it's not Mother's Day because in Lebanon, the Mother's Day is the 21st of March. So she's like, she didn't understand why I was
mad
calling
that you
her,
called her 6 weeks late.
Exactly. It was very
weird. God. Yeah.
Guys, the big news this week was the announcement that the club would be unveiling a new logo soon. And Hady, I think you have the statement not too far. We'll put it on the screen if you may.
Do I have the statement?
Do we have it, or I'll read it out loud?
I do not. No, we do not.
Okay, I'll read it out loud then. Just give me a quick second.
I can pull it out, but
no worries, man. I'll just get it for anyone who missed it this week. I'll pull it out. Won't be too long, guys. I have it right here. Yeah. There you go. Montreal said, we have listened to our supporters and our partners. We will soon unveil a new logo which will be officially used as of the 2023 season. This emblem will highlight several key elements of our identity and history. So for me, the key sentence in this statement is the first one. We have listened to our supporters and partners. Obviously, the logo was a very sensible subject when the rebrand happened. The club this time around has a lot of pressure to make it right. Guys, my question to you is, what would make you happy? As simple as that.
I want to see the blue more present. I want to see the return of La Fleur de Lis.
Yep.
And I don't want to see a snowflake.
I hate winter. I do not want to see a snowflake. If there is any snow on that logo, I'm gonna cry. I'm not a wintry girl, so I was like really miffed from a nature standpoint. I was really miffed. But anyway, regarding the logo, I definitely want the fleur de lis to be like the prominent, I guess, image, if you will, on it. Definitely need more. I would rather personally go back to like bleu blanc noir if I could be picky like that, but definitely more blue. And I think it's important, I think the I guess current logo emphasized Montreal more than emphasizing Quebec. And I think it's important to try and reach all of the soccer fans in Quebec. So I hope it's something that can speak more to the Quebecois people than just to Montrealers.
Yeah, that's interesting. I really, like, aesthetically, I absolutely loved the Shield logo. Okay. So, I know they're probably not going to do this, but I'd be like almost 100% satisfied, in peace, if they just replaced Impact de Montréal on the Shield logo by CF Montréal. More so now that Joey Saputo, kind of confirmed that it's no longer Club de Foot Montréal, but it's CF Montréal.
Mm-hmm.
So that if they really want to hold on to CF Montreal, be it. If they just slap that onto the Shield, I'd be the most happy guy. But I know that's not what's gonna happen.
No.
that would make me so happy. So that's what I would like. But we have no idea what's it gonna be. So it's just up for grabs at the moment. We're just waiting to see what's up.
They said it should be before the month of June or during the month of June. So it's pretty soon there, in the next couple of weeks, 3 weeks there.
Yeah, it's gonna be soon, but it's never soon enough when you're waiting for that. So,
for sure.
I don't know. Guys, Olivier Renard and Gabriel Gervais made midweek media appearances on the official French radio partner of the club, 91.9 Sport. I'll start with Gabriel Gervais' appearance. For anyone who missed it, it was in French, so I can just bring it back to you guys in English, the key points. He explained that the logo was already in the hands of the league and that there was a real desire from the club to acquaint with the past and the identity of the club. Mm-hmm. He also said that he wanted the Ultras back at Stade Saputo, and he said that he would be working to get them back home. And he was quoted saying, "Just imagine if the Ultras were there when Torres scored his goal versus Atlanta." I just have a little question for you guys right here, because obviously the Ultras has been a very, very important topic of everything that happened in the last year. How will Gabriel Gervais get them back? And if he does, what will be the turning point, if there is to be one?
I'm not an Ultra, so I feel hard pressed to answer that question. Mm-hmm. From what we've got from the public statements of the Ultras is that they are pretty, obviously the way things were handled last year was really poor by the previous administration. But then as well, they are very intent on the name of the impact and that loss being kind of central to part of the reason why they've remained away this year. So I guess it depends on if there is any willingness to budge on either side when it comes to that. At least that's what I can gather from the public statements, because I don't have any inside information related to the Ultras.
Yeah, and same as Eve. I just hope that they find an agreement. How, I really don't know. I'm not like, I wish I was a fly on the wall listening to those discussions, but I'm not a fly. I have a lip. Yeah, I'm a bit. I weigh a lot more than a fly. But yeah, no. But I just hope that they find a resolution. Now, of course, I do understand that they're not gonna grant a passage for those that made some how we call it weren't really polite and well behaved in the past. So I think that there will be some people that won't be able to go into the stadium anymore, but the movement, I hope that they find an agreement with the movement. It's not only the Ultras, guys. The Cup.
No, I know.
It's a lot of
132. Yeah,
the 132 is a lot of groups, right?
Yeah.
There's the Bolos, there's the Ultras. There's quite a few. I think there are like 6 or 7. So, I hope that they find an agreement with most of them for sure.
Yeah. Another interesting point Gabriel Gervais mentioned was that he was working to give more space inside the club to ex-players. And if you remember, in the past, some alumni players were taking to the media to express regrets and concerns surrounding the club. Example, Nick DeSantis, Nivio Pizzolito, and more. Now having a direct connection to them will certainly be beneficial to the club and the atmosphere surrounding it. So I'm happy that Gabriel Gervais is going in that direction. He also said in that same interview that one of his priorities was the expiring contract of his sporting director, Olivier Renard. And interestingly enough, Olivier Renard gave an interview to the same French radio station, and he was asked to comment on his contractual situation. Olivier Renard stated that his family was happy in Montreal and that his priority has always been his family. He stayed quite vague, though, as to how advanced were the negotiations or if they had been started at all. Where he was a bit less evasive was when he was talking about his actual work as sporting director. He said that his phone had been ringing regularly since a bit more than a month concerning some of his young players, and there was a lot of interest for them. He also said that Georgi Mihailovic had been the subject of many phone calls, but right now Georgi has his eyes only on Montreal and securing a place to go to Qatar with the U.S. National team. Guys, Olivier Renard wants to stay. The telephone is ringing. The team is doing very well on the pitch recently. Why isn't his contract already settled?
I said earlier in the year, I said that, if the results are not here, he's not going to sign an extension, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I think it's important for the club to show, seeing how the season is going right now, it's important for the club to show that they like what they're seeing.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's time right now to, sign that agreement, sign that extension, to say that they believe in the project. Even if, let's say, we go into I hope not, but into a run of 4, 5, 6, or 7 defeats afterwards. I think it's important that the club shows support to the work done by Olivier Renard. Yeah, and it's interesting, Patrick White saying in the court case.
That was in my mind.
My mind too, because
waiting to see maybe.
I kind of have the feeling that if they're trying to delay the reconduction of his contract as much as they can, because I kind of have the feeling that if he is found guilty, the club will separate with him and say they can't.
Well, yeah, they'd have to. They'll have to. No,
so
you'd have to.
So maybe Gabriel Gervais has that in mind, and that he's just trying to buy himself some time.
Mm-hmm.
But maybe some other club has their eyes on Olivier Renard too, and are able to maybe live a bit more with his court case in Belgium. I don't know, but Patrick, you're 100% right. That's why I think that it's not settled yet. I don't know if Yves, you have another idea, but
no. But I also think like part of the discussions in the media are a little bit of that dancing. You see players do it all the time, and why would it be any different, really, if it's a sporting director? Of the, oh yes, I'm here. I'm thinking of being here, and and they talk and talk and talk about it. And it's all part of the dance.
Yeah. So it's going to be really interesting to follow the developments of this case. Guys, we'll move on quickly. Some Canada news. We'll start with the under-17 women. They were playing a third-place game today at 2 p.m. They won 3-0 against Puerto Rico in their CONCACAF Cup tournament game. And after dropping the semifinal to the U.S., they are now qualified because they won the third-place game for the World Cup with this win. This is fantastic. We also had the Under-20 World Cup draw that came out this week. Canada will play in Group C against France, Nigeria, and South Korea. The tournament will be played in Costa Rica, if I'm not... Yes, and it's the first participation of the Under-20 since the 2016 World Cup.
Oh, that's going to be exciting.
It is.
It is. No, that's a really intense group. To me, that's group death.
Yeah, and I'm not too fun on too good on how these particular teams are going, but just historically and sportingly, France, South Korea, Nigeria, these are big teams, so it's gonna be great test for Canada. Great test. And guys, I'll move on quickly to the quickfire men national and women national senior news. Julia Grosso and Juventus won the Scudetto yesterday. Juventus' 5th time claiming the trophy. Julia Grosso's first, of course. Jordan Heidema scored in PSG's 5-1 win over Bordeaux, while Jenna Hellstrom scored a goal in the Swedish league for Örebro in their 4-2 win today. Jessie Fleming and Chelsea won their 3rd consecutive FAWSL title. Sarah Stratigakis scored her first goal for Swedish side Vitjo, while Sabrina D'Angelo was also the starting keeper for the team. And on the men's side, Ike Ugbo scored for a 2nd consecutive match as Trois Fodbach to draw 2-2 with PSG. Happy, you must have been happy. Hady, you must have been happy.
I'm happy.
Happy Hady. All right, guys, this is all for part 1. It was a huge part 1.
It was.
Yeah, we're going to move on to part 2 now with social media, and we'll close it up with choices. But first, Yves, I'll throw it back to you. Give us the best that you saw on social media.
Yes. First. Alrighty. So lots of good vibes on social media this week. Really weird. Really weird to feel so happy and so light and free. And it reflected when I was scouring the various hashtags. And Chan also mentioned a very Eustáquio's FC Porto. Yes.
Won the Portuguese league.
Yes. Excellent. No, good call, Stephanie Eustáquio. Alrighty. So starting off Twitter, this is from Scott Bailey, and it's actually the picture. I thought this was a beautiful picture.
Oh, wow.
I love it. Love it.
Right? So his tweet is, "What an afternoon at Stade Saputo. This team deserves to and will be selling out this season." But never, aside from even the statement, it's a really, really nice picture. It's taken down at the end. Looks like maybe it's in section 113 or so. And you can see the Olympic Stadium. You've got the beautiful blue sky. Somebody must have just scored because there's some smoke going off. Really, really nice picture by Scott.
It's section 115. That's my section. When I was a supporter.
Right on. Cool. Yeah, but no, I saw that picture and I thought it was beautiful, so I figured it deserved a mention.
His message too. Montreal will be selling out this year. I like this because I think he's right. I think we will be selling out this year.
If they continue to play that way, I got to tell you.
Yeah, it's coming.
Alrighty, next up we have Tio Tojo, who we do hear from a fair bit on the pod. Yeah. He says, "Still buzzing over yesterday's win. Allez Impact, CFMTL." So I like this one because it kind of also brings us with the returning to our history and not being afraid to talk about it vibes, and good vibes, and also present vibes. And I was like, that's a good tweet. It just made me feel really good to read that tweet, and I didn't feel like the word impact was being used politically and stuff like that. So I really like that tweet.
And it's true what he says. I was buzzing after the game too, and last year I didn't have that feeling. Maybe a bit after the Canadian Championship final at Stade Saputo, I had a little bit of that vibe, but there was still so many questions surrounding the team. Now I felt like, back in when I started to buy my season tickets, and after the game I was just on a cool high, and just wow, we just spent some good time in the sun and some great football. So yeah, it was great. I was really happy to go back to Stade Saputo finally this year.
Yes, excellent. Ready? Next up, GoFootYourself.com says, "If they keep playing this way, we are in our way to the playoffs. Well done, les boys." I know we had made our predictions, but Go Foot Yourself seems to think that, if Montreal keeps on keeping on, they're going to the playoffs. How are we feeling about our predictions?
I'm not really confident, but I said that they will miss the playoffs. Looking at the way they're playing and the way they are right now, maybe I was wrong, but we'll see. It's very early in the season still.
But I know we would be playing at home in playoffs if it did finish today. I know it's so early, but I'm just really thinking about it.
It's really, really far.
I know, but honestly, that new format of playoff, I really don't like it. You should be granted a home game if you make the. It's a grind just to get into the playoffs. Can you just give something to the fans who went through that grind with the team during the year? I hate that one.
But other fans say that it's a lot more exciting because it's a one-game thing. So
I agree, but it's not fair.
Hey, the series against New York Red Bull, that was amazing. It was 2 legs against Toronto, 2 legs, amazing series. I mean, they have to bring it back. They really have to.
I agree.
I don't think it will happen.
I don't think it will either. But I'm even take out the away goal side of it and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But no, I overall agree. Yeah, we're probably stuck how we are. Okay, next up we have Danny said, "Coach Herdman, I hope you were watching Montreal versus Orlando. Joel Waterman was solid and incredible. Do you think? Yeah. Do you think Coach Herdman is looking at Joel Waterman?"
Yeah, I think.
He is.
He is.
Well, obviously he is. But do you think maybe Joel Waterman has a shout for June?
Yeah, I think so.
There's quite a few games before they do the June window, so he still needs to be consistent and play exactly like he did yesterday. And I don't see why not. He will. I don't see why he wouldn't be called.
Yeah, and if you look at our defense, I mean, there is place for Joel Waterman because look at Scott Kennedy, look at Doniel Henry, look at even sometimes Steven Vittoria is not a young player anymore. So I mean,
Vittoria is not playing right now in Portugal at
all. No.
So I really like Joel Waterman's chances, and he might be the surprise of John Herman's list. I really wish him because for people who know a bit his story, a couple of years ago, maybe 3 or 4 years ago, he was even considering not continuing to play football. I think it was after his university year before CanPL kind of helped his career take off. So just imagine if you can play at a World Cup, it would be just wild, man.
Yeah,
wouldn't it? Oh my God, it would really come full circle. Alrighty, and last tweet: kick them balls. Mulroney, speaking to Jake Mulroney, losing 2 weeks in a row at Saputo against Montreal with 2 different teams. Poor guy. Anybody else notice that stat?
Yeah.
I know, he's a hoot. But I didn't even click with me. I knew full well that Orlando had just signed, Mulroney from Atlanta, but I forgot the fact that Atlanta was just in Montreal.
That's an underrated tweet, but for real.
He's gonna have nightmare, Jake Mulroney.
He's never gonna eat a poutine.
I think he's gonna wake up and say, Montreal.
Je me souviens.
Exactly.
Oh Lord. Anyway, that wraps up social media for this week. So I believe Hady, you are on duty.
Yeah, I am on duty with choices. So let's wait for the bell ring. Yeah, guys, so I'm going to start with my first choice, and, we're talking about the contractual situation of Olivier Renard. So Olivier Renard is like, okay, you know what? I have to prepare myself. I have to go see, if I travel again, if I go, somewhere else in another country. So he's looking into his house and he goes into the attic and he finds a lamp. Okay, he finds that lamp there and he tries to read the inscription on it and scrubs it a bit. And a genie comes out of it, okay? A genie. He comes out of it, a soccer genie, right?
What in the name of God?
He comes out and he tells him, I'm able to grant you one of the Sounders' great legends at their peak.
Oh, boy.
Who would you choose to play for Montreal between Clint Dempsey, Nicolas Lodero, Chad Marshall, or Obafemi Martins? Who would you choose? So Clint Dempsey, Nicolas Lodero, Chad Marshall, or Obafemi Martins?
Obafemi Martins. I'm so sorry. Oh God, I'm sorry. It just came out.
No. Go ahead. I was still thinking.
Go ahead.
Was there other parts to your question or your choice, or do I just?
Yeah, just take a pick.
Oh boy! Oh my gosh, that's a nice one. I always really liked Obafemi Martins. He had a really storied career throughout Europe as well, and I know he wound up playing in China actually after MLS. But he was a player who I always really enjoyed watching. I found him to be an interesting player. He's probably not the most prolific of the players that you named. But I would never sign Clint Dempsey. I don't want to sign Clint Dempsey. I don't like Clint Dempsey. So that left me with 2 choices. I really do like Nicolas Lodero, but I would worry that would maybe give Georgi Mihailovic a little bit less visibility. And therefore, I move for Obafemi Martins.
Sam?
Clint Dempsey. I can understand why you would not like him, Eve, but I think you need players like that in your team. And just imagine in midfield you have Wanyama playing with Dempsey. I mean, they would voluntarily not go by the midfield just by sheer fear of getting kicked or hit. And they're so physical, so dynamic players. And prime Clint Dempsey was a very good Premier League player. That's something. So most definitely Clint Dempsey. And he had Very good offensive flair. He reminded me a bit of Tim Cahill, which I really liked as a player. So
Australian, very good.
Good header of the ball, nasty player, like warrior mentality. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you can't be as good as Tim Cahill in the air.
No,
it's impossible. It's impossible.
No.
I think it's one of the best headers of the game I've seen.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and Tim Cahill is like my height. He's like 5'9".
Yeah, I know.
He can jump like he's a salmon.
Yeah. Amazing. Yeah, so Dempsey for me.
Yeah, you know what? I love your answers, and I thought about this for a while before making the choice, and Bafemi Martins, I loved him, but unfortunately, he used to miss maybe 3 chances out of 5 in front of goals, and it drove me crazy. Clint Dempsey, I like him, but again, I think we have the players that we need at that position. And you know what? I would choose Nicolas Lodeiro, because I think that if you have Lodeiro next to Wanyama, you have quite a midfield, and with Georgi Mihailovic playing up front, you have a midfield that's like one of the best in the history of MLS. It's as simple as that, So now for me, it would be Nicolas Lodeiro if I had to make that choice. But unfortunately, there's no soccer genies. But
no.
Put him again, Hady. I just want to see him again.
Oh my God.
Genie. Yeah, I could put him again for sure.
Dear good God.
Very nice.
Now, let's go back to the real world.
Okay.
You're Olivier Renard, or not so real world. You're Olivier Renard.
Oh, God.
And you get a phone call from Clermont, who's a League One team that's supposedly should stay in the Liga next year. They're willing right now, on July 1st, to buy Zachary Bourguillard for $500K. Would you do it or not? $500K cash for Zachary Bourguillard. Knowing our problems at wing backs and not being able to have wing backs. So who's first?
Sorry,
I didn't hear you, Eve.
No, I'm just thinking.
No,
I can start.
I'll go.
You go? Okay, go ahead.
If I'm Olivier Renard and that offer comes in, I have a meeting with Wilfred Nancy. 100%. I say, what's the plan for? Don't talk politics here. Just tell me what's up with Zachary Bourguillard. I need to know, because if he's gonna do cameo substitute appearances like for 10-12 minutes per game, I think you should sell him. $500K is some good money. I think probably could have more if he was played a bit more than he is right now, but that's probably the most that he can be valued at the moment, and for his own career too. I mean, at some point the man has to play. But if the plan is no, listen, Zachary Bourguillard, we're trying to build him into a first team regular 11 player, and we'll find somewhere in which Bourguillard, Waterman, Johnston are able to play on a regular basis in the team.
Interesting setup, but okay.
Yeah, I don't know how, but probably have to play Bourguillard down on the left, which would be another story. But I really like Bourguillard. He's one of my favorite players in the team, so it's tough for me to answer that. But if Wilfred Nancy plans on playing him as much as he's playing right now, well, as much as he's played since Wilfred Nancy is the manager, just sell him.
So Zachary Bourguillard just signed a contract extension through 2023 with options for 2024 and 2025. So is $500,000 worth that at least year? Maybe plus 2. No, I think like 750 would be a more just number. So I would say no.
Yes, you would say no. I would say yes. I would say yes. I think that we have Mathieu Chouanière. I think we can. Don't forget that we said it last week. Olivier Renard saying that they have $400K in budget. And with that 500K, because don't forget that now in MLS you keep, I think, 95% of the transfer fees. So you would keep a big chunk of that. So with that 400K, I would have 800K, and I'll be able to go and bring a wing back from within MLS. So I would sell him. I think it's better for Zachary Wilguillard for his future. Also, with the Canadian national team, and knowing that Wilfred Nancy is not really playing him right now. I would sell him. No questions asked. Last choice. You guys, you're Wilfred Nancy this time, and Olivier Renard called you right now, like today. And he tells you, listen, as I said in my interview with 91.9, as Sam told us, Georgi Mihailovic has been receiving a lot of calls. Yes, he's concentrated on it with Montreal. Yes, he wants to go. He wants to go with the national team to Qatar. But he got an offer from a club, and unfortunately, I cannot refuse it because it's a big offer. But also, unfortunately, we will not be able to replace Georgi Mihailovic. And it is what it is. He's leaving. It is what it is. Nobody's coming back, coming to take his place. What would you do? Would you keep your current system and play Miljevic or someone else exactly at the position that Georgi Mihailovic is playing? Or would you change to a 4-3-3 or a 4-4-2 or a 4-5-1, 4-2-3-1, whatever it is? What would you do? What would be your tactical formation in case Georgi Mihailovic leaves? Sam?
Yeah, I can go.
I know part of my answer. I don't know the second part of my answer.
Yeah, I'm a bit at the same place, but I'll wing it. So my feeling is that Georgi Mihailovic participates a little bit less in build-up play than he used to. So he's more of like in the final third, really the motor of the team, but doesn't drop as deep. His role has kind of changed since he's been in Montreal, where last year you could see very much more deep, almost playing as an 8.5. Now he's playing much higher on the pitch and isolated a bit more on the left wing and stuff. So I don't think that you need necessarily to change the system, because the system turns a lot less around him than it used to. I have the feeling this year, Victor Wanyama and his partner, whoever he is in midfield, are much more the motors of that system than last year you could say Mihailovic was. So I would keep the same tactical formation. Now, who would play in his role? Oh, that's gonna be tough, because now Miljevic, I'm not sure well, I don't think Miljevic can play there. I'd definitely try Ahmed Hamdi. But one player I'd be interested to try up there is when Mason Toy comes back. I'd give Romel Kyoto a go a bit deeper, a bit lower on the pitch, between the midfielders and the strikers.
Oh wow!
I'd love
to surprises me.
Play that. I'm not sure it's gonna work, but I'd just be really curious to see what happens there. I don't think Kai Kamara, I don't think Mason Toy can play there, but I think Romel Kyoto has the abilities to do a bit of that. So
interesting.
I'll try Hady first, though, for sure.
Eve?
I would switch formations for sure, I think, just because I don't think anybody does what Georgie can do as well as he does it. So I think a formation change would probably be necessary, even though, kind of like you said, Sam, he's not as important in build-up play this season as last year. So I think I probably honestly would end up kind of giving up and switching formations, and maybe something more along the lines of a more traditional 4-4-2 with the, which would be like a really radical change, I know.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
But maybe a 4-4-2 with, whoever as your 4 defenders. Maybe that gives Broguier the chance to push up and be a little bit more of a winger and not worry about getting burnt. And Johnston goes back to playing his usual fullback role. I don't know. But just to discuss kind of more so within the midfield and kind of up top, perhaps Wanyama, obviously. And then I don't know, perhaps Kone or Chouanière or Hamdi, because it seems like anybody could have that spot right now. And then I would do kind of a false nine. Well, I would do your deep lying striker, and then your more attacking striker. So perhaps a Romel Kyoto and a Kai Kamara pairing I think could be interesting, or Romel Kyoto and Mason Toye when Mason Toye is fit. As well with Keen Torres, I think could be interesting coming in from a winger position, and that would also give Lassie the opportunity to play at the wing position, which is what we believe he's truly suited for.
I'm gonna go Yves' route, and I would go with 4-3-3 though. Okay. I think we have quite a few midfielders that can play box to box or number 6. So with Mihailovic, with Wanyama, with Piet, with Amdi, with Kone, with Chouanière that can play in the middle also, with Zuhir. I think you can afford to play in a 4-3-3. And up front, Kyoto has proved that he's able to play on the wing. So even if Mason Toye comes back, and also Mason Toye can play on the left wing also. So you have those players. Lassie can play on the left wing. Kamal Miller can play as a left fullback. So I think the 4-3-3 would be the best formation if you don't have Georgi Mihailovic. If you play with a 4-3-3 with Georgi, I think, in my opinion, doesn't really have a place unless he's playing, as a number 10 in a 4-2-3-1 and not the 4-3-3. I would change the formation. I just want to say one last thing about Kyoto. Just one thought that I thought about this right now. A lot of people are saying, he's not scoring goals and everything, but he's doing a lot of work creating space. So don't forget about his work rate. I think it's tremendous. So and Sam, you said that you would see him play, the role of Georgie. I think his physical play up front is very, very important for Montreal. The fact that, when a defender is on him, that the defender is not going to be able to do anything else than just be and mark Romel Kyoto.
He occupies the defender.
Exactly. So I don't know if it's a good decision to maybe drop him in a more, in a midfielder role. Not really sure about that.
I kind of have the feeling that Kai Kamara could adjust his game a bit to kind of play it, but he doesn't have the same thinking as Romel, and it comes a bit organically for Kyoto to play that, whereas Kamara would have to make adjustments to his game. So I was just trying to shuffle and find something, if you need quick replacement for Mihailovic in your scenario, but ideally you keep Mihailovic. And that's the best of all the scenarios.
Let's hope so. Let's hope so. So that's it for me for choices. I hope you guys had fun.
Oh yeah,
lovely.
It's good, Eddie. And that's it for us for this episode 80 of The Ball is Round. I just want to give a few shout outs quickly. I want to say Happy Mother's Day to every mother. Or anyone who occupies that role in your guys' life. I want to say shout out to Alain, who stopped for the interview. It was really cool having him. And I want to say shout out to Hady and Yves. It was fun again spending the night with you talking Montreal and Canada soccer.
Yeah, and shout out to you, Sam, for doing everything on this program. It's really nice. Shout out to Yves, even if she always disagrees with me. And
what I'm here for.
I just need also to say, I don't know if you guys realize the background picture that we have. I'm going to show it to you. So it's the huddle of the players. I just want to thank CF Montreal for letting us use their picture. You see it's the CF Montreal on Twitter. So just a shout out to them, and that's it. Thanks for everything, guys.
Yeah, I say have a wonderful week, everyone, and we'll see you next week. It's gonna be Monday, 8 p.m. most likely, and we'll keep you updated on our social media platforms. Take care, and we'll see you soon.